Impact segment tonight. As you may know, Congress now on a 5-week break, so nothing will be done about the border. The ongoing problem has divided Americans. President Obama is warning that he may issue executive orders on the situation, which would throw the country into absolute turmoil. Australia once had the same problem. Thousands of illegal aliens sailing to that nation in hopes of living there permanently. But the Australian government cracked down hard, refusing to let the aliens even land, intercepting them at sea and sending them to various islands. It seems to have stopped the problem. With us now, Nick Adams, an Australian political commentator and author of the book, The American Boomerang, How the World's Greatest Turnaround Nation Will Do It Again. So did I describe the situation accurately?
Bill, you, the humble correspondent, nailed it. That's exactly right. For the last 7 months, we have not had one single illegal immigrant arrive in Australia.
That you know of?
Well, we know, because obviously they have to come by water. And not one boat has made it to the Australian coastline. Now, it wasn't always that way, as you correctly observe. We had no problem with our border between 2001 and 2007. And then a centre-left government full of secular progressive pinheads got elected, and they dismantled this effective border protection policy that was in place, with the usual claims that it was inhumane, it was wrong, it was immoral, only bad guys like O'Reilly would want to have such a policy in place. And what happened? We've had, in the last 4 years, before the change in government, more than 50,000 illegal immigrants arrived on over 800 boats. 1,200 people, Bill, tragically died at sea making the journey. There was a $10.3 billion budget blowout. And they were coming here, and it was like Hollywood, Bill. It was, who wants to be an illegal immigrant? They were getting free plasma TVs, free mobile phones.
Because your society does give generous welfare benefits. Now, most of these people were coming from South Asia, right? Pakistan, Afghanistan, those kinds of countries. Now, the Australian Navy actually physically intercepts them? Is that what they do?
That's right, Bill. The Conservative government basically came in and said, right, we are going to determine who comes into this country and the circumstances under which they come. And they got the Australian military, the Australian Navy, to sort it out. A suite of measures which include turning back the boats, which include towing back the boats. But most of all, our Prime Minister got out, Bill, and said, if you come to Australia the wrong way, if you come to Australia illegally, you will never get to stay. You will never get to live in Australia. You will never get to be in Australia. So
once you even get in, if you didn't get in legally, you're going to be deported no matter what your circumstances.
Well, basically, Bill, this is what happened. When the Conservative government got in, because we had such a terrible mess, they couldn't wave the magic wand and stop the boats immediately. So for the first few months, some boats kept coming. And the people that arrived were told, you have come to Australia illegally. Therefore, we do not want you. We don't believe you've done the right thing, and as a result, you will not get to stay here. We are going to send you either to a processing centre offshore, which is an island, like you were saying in your introduction, or the other choice you have is we will fly you home free.
And that costs Australia money to fly all these people home, but you do it so you have an efficient system.
That's exactly right.
Okay. So the people who got here under the Liberal government, can they stay in Australia now? Are they legal citizens?
Well, many of them, Bill, got released into the community early, and you know, to a great concern for all of us, because they weren't vetted. We don't know who they are.
But are they still there?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Some of them are.
So it's like America's, we have 12 million at least here, and those people are functioning, but you have the same in Australia. You have some illegal aliens that are on the ground because they were under the other regime that was a little soft. Now, the Navy, you know, physically turning these people back, this is why I call for the National Guard on the border to physically turn back people coming in. That must be controversial. I mean, you know, they're forcing them away from the Australian coastline into the water, open water, or towing them to an island, right?
Bill, the wailing from the international socialist UN types, the left, the politically correct, the mainstream media, it's been incessant. But the Conservative government down under has remained firm and steadfast and said that this is the way that it's going to be. It is controversial, but it's working, Bill, and people in Australia are happy for a number of reasons. One is that the people that were coming were seen as queue jumpers. And it's not fair to the genuine refugees, part of Australia's already very generous refugee intake, It was costing us so much money. We didn't know who these people were, and of course, we wanted to save lives. And what's more humanitarian?
Yeah, if you're floating across open water, I mean, if you're encouraging that, they're going to be like the Haitian boat people.
And that's why I think, Bill, that President Obama has got to toughen up.
All right,
He's got to show
seem like that's going to happen, but we'll see. All right, Nick, we appreciate the perspective from Down Under. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.